Live from Los Angeles, here are your hosts, Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, and Max Brown.
Hello and welcome to Trojans Live, presented by Monster Energy on AM 790 KBC and across the USC Trojans Media Network, live on YouTube. Appreciate everyone joining us on a Monday. We are halfway home here. Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, Max Brown, the head coach, Lincoln Riley. USC's head coach interview is presented by iTrust Capital, the official crypto platform of the USC Trojans. The Trojans sit at 6-0 in the halfway point in the regular season. Coach, how do you feel about your team headed into the second half?
Excited. You know, this is kind of what you work all year for. And I think it's something that we've pointed to ever since our season ended last year. We've pointed to this second half of the year and the opportunities that come with that, and the responsibility, I think, on us to do everything we can to play our best ball. You know, we're halfway through. We've put ourselves, one loss record, we put ourselves in the best position you possibly could be with everything in front of us. And now it's time to go seize it, right? Now it's time to go play your best ball. It's time to really rise. And I think we sense the opportunity, and it's obviously going to be a fun ride here, man. It really is. It's a great second half of the schedule. A lot of really good football teams, a lot of really good games here coming up. Obviously, starting off with the rivalry game here on the road that we're very excited to go play. So, yeah, if you're a competitor, this is what you love, man. Like the second half of the year, right in the middle of the hunt, it's a perfect spot to be in.
Coach, on Saturday, first time this year, team didn't get out to an early lead, didn't jump out. What was your rationale after watching the team? You think was it an energy thing, a game calling thing? What do you think it was on the Saturday that started with a slow start?
A little bit of everything. That's my responsibility first and foremost to have the team ready, and I don't. Looking back at it, it's hard to say that we were ready to play at a high level. We got some. Made some mistakes early. Obviously, like you said, didn't get off to a fast start, and we had a little bit of a hard time flipping it. And really slow start offensively. Really pretty pathetic early, honestly. And and obviously that's where we ended up. We ended up in a hole, and you look up, pretty quick, and it's 17-0, and you're not playing very well on either side of the ball. And those are tough moments, man. We haven't been in that hole very much, and when you get in it, it's difficult to dig your way out, and we gave the guys a stat today kind of from our analytics of, the percentage of time that teams are down 17 or more points and actually come back and win the game is shockingly low, shockingly low. And so it's really, really difficult to do. And so for us to be able to get the momentum back there in the second quarter was really important. I think the Jacoby Covington interception and some of the stops defensively, I thought really energized our entire team there. We were finally able to start to show a little bit of life offensively, and to be able to get, go in at halftime with that game pretty close was a big win there in the second quarter. And then, we just kind of traded blows there in the second half. Felt like a couple of times we were getting ready to separate, and obviously had a good opportunity to win it right there at the end of regulation. But it's why you can't write the script before these things happen. Like, you got to stay in the moment. You got to keep swinging. And the reality is, there's two sides to this. It's, we're disappointed that we felt like we basically just squandered the entire first quarter as a football team. And you can't do that against good teams. That team right there lost a game at Mississippi State where the quarterback threw 4 interceptions and lost a game in overtime on the road, and then had a really good chance to beat a really good Washington team last week. So, you're playing a good team and you don't show up for a quarter, that's what the scoreboard's going to look like, and you have to scratch and claw your way out of it. And damned if we didn't. We did. We scrapped. It was not nearly as clean as we want to play. There was a lot of things that we need to do better, but it was cool to see the culture of the group. It was cool to see the guys kind of bond together and just really stay with it and keep swinging, and made enough plays in the end to get it done.
And it was cool to see Caleb kind of get the guys together, and that jumps out to me this year. He's been special his whole time at USC, but from the leadership perspective, I don't know if that edge jumped out to me last year of him really getting the guys together, and some of the passion that we even saw post-game at the press conference. How have you seen his leadership evolve since his first day of college with you guys, and just how he's grown in that department and that edge that he seems to have this season?
It was good to see. It was, because sometimes that's easier to do when, maybe if, team's not playing well or guys around you maybe not playing well, but you're still, playing at a fairly high level. He certainly wasn't having his best game. Mm-hmm. But as a quarterback and as a leader, even when you're not at your best, you still have to influence a team, right? You still have a responsibility beyond just your play. And that is to lead, that is to inspire, to continue to push these guys, because he's been through enough of these now to know what the outside world sometimes forgets. Like, you just got to find a way to win these suckers, man. Like, especially when you're not at your best, and you got to be able to pull that out of the guys as a leader. And I thought him and some of our other leaders really step up and kept the group together, because again, that's one that very easily you could just let get away from you. And the thing I know I said it after, but I've been a part of a few like that where you don't start off well and then you get the momentum and you just ride it out the whole way, and you come back and you end up winning by 21 points. Those are fun. Those are great. They're still hard to do too. One of the toughest things is psychologically, you're down, okay? You make a comeback. You feel like you got all the momentum, and then they hit back, and then you kind of lose it. Then you got to get it back again. You lose it, you got to get it back again. And so I think just to see the character of our guys as we went through all that, I thought was really key, and a credit to all of our leaders.
And you mentioned the Jacoby Covington pick. That was sort of the first turning point to get that emotion going in your favor. And it did seem like the defense kind of settled into the game faster than the offense did. What was overall the turning point for the defense that allowed them to recover after their start?
Yeah, I think the Covington pick, it energized us. And I think, going back and watching the film, and our coaches knew right away. I mean, the couple of plays that they got on us early were like, we had the perfect call. I mean, we were like dead to rights. If you were on the Arizona coach's headset and knew exactly what you wanted to call, like, we were in it. And I think our coaches knew it, our players knew it, and we made just a few dumb mistakes that opened up big plays. And so I think there was a sense of confidence on that side of the ball. That even though we'd given up a few points, we had the red zone stop. We gave up the 2 that we absolutely should not have given up. But I think they really felt it, and you could tell. They get the stop or get the ball, have the long play, we turn it over, and then it was cool to see our defense go back and get it right back. And then they really held serve there, because we didn't really, the offense didn't really find real footing until the second half, honestly. We got a couple in there at the end of the first half, but certainly still didn't play quite up to the standard we would expect.
Coach, from a physicality standpoint, going back and watching the game, I thought Arizona came out, they were ready to play. They really took you that first punch, and I thought they threw it both on the offensive line and defensive line. But it looked like the guys, as the game went on, maybe in the second half, they came and they matched the physicality. What was the start for the slow start for that, and then how did you get them to turn this thing around and say, hey, guys, we got to match this physicality because Arizona's here. They're playing hard.
Yeah, you're right. No, they hit us in the mouth first. There's no question about it. And our guys weren't ready, and it obviously showed, and we had to get ready pretty quick. Like you said, I thought that did flip. Certainly in the second half, I thought we started getting to the quarterback some. We started hitting him, affecting him some. Had some big sacks, and we started obviously being able to run the ball much better when we get off to a slow start there. So, yeah, I thought the physicality ramped up as the game went on. Guys rose to the occasion, but that's something that obviously has a start at the beginning.
Coach, I want to ask you about the 2-point play call in triple overtime. Like, rewind, where does that even come from? I'd never even seen that formation. It felt like an isolation and almost a pick-up basketball game kind of thing, but, like, tracing the thread all the way back, like, where does that idea even come from?
Yeah, it was something we kind of drew up in the staff room that we thought had a chance, and we worked it a little bit throughout the year. And that's kind of what you get those ready for, is a game like that where all of a sudden you need a lot of calls down there. And we had already had a few goal line snaps after they reversed the Michael Jackson touchdown. And so, yeah, all of a sudden you've gone through a lot of plays at that point, and you're at a 2-point shootout, and who knows how many you're going to have, right? And so we had confidence in it. Yeah, it is. It's simply kind of an isolation play and a chance to get our guys out in space. I actually think we would have thrown the ball, but we ended up kind of tripping over ourselves and falling on the route. I don't think Caleb should have had to run it in based on what happened, but that is part of the thought process, is you do create some space and get a good athlete out there and let him go to work.
Well, there's a big one coming up on Saturday night. The Trojans are headed to South Bend, the greatest intersectional rivalry in college football, USC versus Notre Dame. It'll kick at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time on NBC and right here on the USC Trojans Media Network. Our show will go on at 2:30, getting you ready for that one. It'll be 7:30 where we are in South Bend. We'll talk to Coach about that next. Monster Energy, the official energy drink of USC. Unleash the Beast, and Trojans Live is sponsored by Pechanga Resort Casino, proud partner of USC football. More Trojans Live to come. Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, Max Brown, the head coach, Lincoln Riley. Appreciate you taking a second segment with us here as we get into Notre Dame. Always one of the favorite weeks of the year. Been going on for a very long time. It'll be your first trip to South Bend as the USC head coach. What do you see from the Irish when you take a look at them on film? They are very difficult to beat in that stadium. We know that.
Yeah. So it'd been a while since it's happened for the Trojans. So great challenge for us. We've enjoyed watching them, man. They're a good team. I mean, they're obviously playing at a high level defensively again, like they did last season. Return a lot of familiar faces. I mean, they're one of the older defenses that will play. Seniors all over the place, a lot of experience. And again, a few different guys on the front. They graduated a couple of the really good players there, but still playing at a high level, and they've been effective. Some really good players in the secondary. The two linebackers are the same guys that we played against last year. They're both really good players. So, and then obviously the transfer quarterbacks come in and done overall a really nice job for them. They've moved the ball efficiently. He's played very well. A few new people in the supporting cast, certainly at the receiver position. Obviously lost a great tight end from last year, but still featuring the tight end prominently in the throw game like they always tend to do. And, big physical offensive line, kind of what you come to expect out of playing in Notre Dame. So, it'll be a good challenge. I mean, like it should be, right? And great chance to go on the road, play a rivalry game. These are always obviously very special. I've never had a chance to go up there, so this is going up there as a USC Trojan for the first time feels right.
Coach, when you get in one of these rivalry games, do you like to, as a coach, kind of tell the guys about the history of the game, or are you just trying to keep it to this is our year, this is the year we're concentrating on, or do you make it like all right, we've got, in 56 we did this and they did that, or do you just keep it, this is the year?
More of B for sure. I'm a little bit more just about the game, but I have tried to. We did a little bit last year before the game. We'll do a little bit this year just to give them a taste of the history. Like I don't want us to focus on that, but I don't want us to just completely miss it and not understand it either, right? Like this is an important game to college football. Like this is one of those games for the guys that you'll remember for the rest of your lives. That's how these games go. And I think you do need to understand what a privilege it is to play in this game where so many other great teams and players have been a part of. And it's been such a nationally relevant game for a long, long time, and it always will be. And so I think anytime you sign up, whether to come play at USC or come coach at USC, you're thinking about getting a chance to compete in this game. And so here it is for us.
I remember my first trip to South Bend. It was really kind of my first intro to the environments in college football. It was Coach Kiff getting off the bus and an old lady like getting on his case with Ed Orgeron behind him, like hooting and hollering back. And it just kind of set the tone for what this rivalry is, what road atmospheres are. I'm sure you have, maybe not exactly Ed Orgeron experiences, but experiences like that, getting off the bus. Is there one that sticks out, and what are you looking forward to most just going into that environment?
Road environments as far as getting off the bus, there's some interesting ones. I mean, OU Texas is an experience. That one certainly is. I mean, pulling into the state fair and just all the hype around that game is a lot of fun. We played a road game up at Tennessee a few years ago, and we were both pretty highly ranked. It was an early primetime road game, and they kind of drop you off strategically, right in the middle of all their fans, and they know you're coming. We'll put it that way. So yeah, it was fun, man. Like you got to love that stuff, man. Like to me, the nastier, the more kind of fire around these rivalries, like the smaller and crappier the locker room is, like that's what it's all about, man. Like I love every part of that, and so yeah, you got to embrace it, and I know this one will be a fun one.
I got some text today that apparently the weather's not going to be so good. Do you monitor that closely? Do you guys do wet ball drills and things like that if you see a forecast that might call for rain? Yeah,
we're always aware of it. It's something we practice throughout the year. Fortunately we did have a pretty rainy year in Southern California, as we all know, and so we had a lot of good opportunities to work in the elements this spring. We took advantage of it, which was now looking back on it, probably I think well played on our part. So yeah, listen, if conditions are a factor, you got to be ready to adjust, right? It's football, that's part of it. It can change the game in some ways, and so hopefully we'll be able to handle it well.
Coach, early in the week, but What's your take on the team's mood and kind of like how's their temperament right now? After you played a couple games here where you didn't play 4 quarters of football the way you like probably, and are they feeling feisty to you? Or are they feeling like we haven't played our best and we still got a lot to show? Is that the sense that you kind of get?
For sure, 1,000%. Yep. I mean, I think they're excited about the wins, but they know that we have a lot left out there in terms of obviously what's in front of us. We have everything out there, but I think also just in terms of really how good this team can be,
your potential,
and exactly right, and reaching our potential. And they absolutely seem feisty. They have an edge. I think they sense the opportunity. Now it's time to rise up and go get it.
Yep.
Going back to last game, one scenario at the end of regulation, obviously you wish the field goal would have gone differently, but what goes into that decision late in the game where you got a defense that might be letting you score? Do you take that score? Do you settle down, run the ball? Do you knee the ball? Like, what are those conversations like? How do you unbreak or unpack that decision? Even more so watching the film after the fact of maybe self-assessment during that time.
Yeah, no, it was interesting because we could tell on the first play that where we threw the ball, which we should not have done. I mean, that was we got a little lost in the moment there. But we could tell they were going to surrender. And so, I mean, we called literally exactly the same play.
Is that a D-line temperament
time.
Or like how can you?
You could just tell, standing on the sideline, you just tell they weren't like actively engaging the blocks. And we were talking on the headphones like they might surrender here. So, yeah, and on the second play, we actually were going to take a knee. We called it, and Caleb just got to do a little bit better job understanding the situation. He saw what he thought was a pull and thought he was going to go score, and that's what you love. I mean, great players, typically they want it in their hands at the end. I mean, that's just kind of that's how he's wired. But got to know in that situation to hand it off, and then the back, the plan was the back to take a knee there at the 1 yard line, and with the timeout, I mean, you weren't obviously as concerned, obviously concerned with the ball on the ground, but I mean, knowing that we had the timeout, we were going to take that regardless, but obviously would like for that to have been a little bit cleaner at the end.
Well, the Trojans got it done on Saturday night, and they'll look to do it again this Saturday in South Bend, USC versus Notre Dame. That'll be a 4:30 p.m. Pacific time kick, and I'm sure you will all be watching and listening.